All right, I think we're about ready to go. Looks like our stream is going. It's 6 o'clock here. We want to go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody joining us again this month for what is now our third Beaks briefing. This is something we're doing on a monthly basis so that we could reach out and communicate with our folks. We have our student athletes on the call with us, and we want them to have a chance to interact with our Alumni Spotlight person who's featured every month as well. And we've got a little bit different agenda tonight. We feel that we'd really like to spend more time with our alumni guests and allow them to have more time to share their stories and hopefully promote and prompt some interaction from those of you in the audience. And as a reminder, we've got our student athletes, but we also may have some administrators. We've got our coaches. We may have some parents on the line, and we may have some other folks from the campus community. So it's a broad group of people that are interested in getting an update about LB athletics, and that's why we're doing these things. If you weren't on earlier, again, just a viewing tip that might make this a little bit more enjoyable for you. If you haven't already, make sure you have switched your Zoom view to gallery view, and then also under that same button, say hide non-video participants. And that way you will not be, you won't have your screen filled with 25 squares of people's names on it. You will just see the people that are on camera. And so Sabrina, I see you. I'm going to ask you just to turn your camera off so that we just have the person that's going to be speaking with their cameras on, and we'll go ahead and get going. But our agenda tonight is, as usual, I just want to say a few things to give a very brief update on some of the things that we are doing this spring. We're going to have each coach just introduce themselves to say hello, and then also introduce a student athlete that we can get to know. The purpose of that is just to, through the course of these events, get to know some of our current student athletes, where they're from, what their plans are, and what their experience at LB has been like. And we're going to go through all of our sports, starting with volleyball when we get to that section. And we're going to go through all of those student athlete introductions, and then we're going to jump right into our alumni spotlight. And tonight we have Seth Brown, who played baseball here about 10 years ago or so, and he's got a great story. And when we get to Seth's part, he is going to spend a little bit of time talking about his experience and some things he wants to share. And then we're going to have a little bit more of an interactive session with Seth. We have one of our assistant baseball coaches, Ryan Gorton, is going to jump on. And Ryan and Seth were teammates within the A's organization for a number of years. And so there's going to be a little bit of Q&A between them. And then we have a special guest that we're going to ask to jump on as well, that Seth knows very well. And he's going to be able to ask Seth a few questions and interact with them as well. We do want to encourage anybody that's watching to submit any questions. If you want to submit through the chat, that's fine. When we get through the program and we have time for Q&A, if you want to be very brave and jump on your microphone or even on camera, please feel welcome to do that when we get to that point. We want to encourage as much interaction as we can. But that's the program for tonight. We're going to spend the bulk of it hearing from Seth Brown when we get to that point. But as usual, I want to go ahead and thank one of our major partners this year. Samaritan Athletic Medicine has been wonderful to work with. Our sports medicine services are through them, and we couldn't have gotten through this COVID era without the great relationship and partnership we have through Samaritan. So our thanks always go out to them. And a reminder that through our partners, BSN Sports, we have a sideline store where you can get all sorts of Roadrunner merchandise. And if you haven't figured out by now, there is always some kind of sale going on the site. Sometimes it's a little bit better than others, but there is always merchandise on sale. We encourage you to check it out and just go to our website, .edu/store, and that'll take you to our BSN sideline store. One other thing I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, if you haven't noticed by now, we have been posting a number of stories about interesting things from our past. You may not know that this academic year is the 50-year anniversary of athletics at Linn-Benton. So we are taking the next several months and we're going to highlight 50 people, teams, special moments from the last 5 decades in a 50 for 50 celebration. And we've started to post these each week. And we hope that you're enjoying these. We have such a great athletic history here, and we want to make sure that we are able to promote those and share some of the great stories with everybody as we head into this spring. And this will be culminating in a special 50-year anniversary celebration later this spring, pending the public health situation in Linn County allows us to do some sort of event outside in conjunction with one of our baseball games is the plan. So stay tuned for that, but we encourage you to go to our website and take a look at our 50 for 50. You can find that very easily on our site. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to go through our very brief sport reports, and we're going to start it off with Jamie here. So Jamie, are you ready to jump on camera? There you are.
I'm ready.
Great.
Am I on there?
You are all
Okay.
set to go.
All right, great. Well, if Maria is there as well, she could jump on. I'm going to make this brief. Welcome everybody, and if you don't know already, I'm Jamie Frazier and the women's volleyball coach here. And my guest tonight is Maria Onis, and Mara is here from Eugene. I'm going to let her do the introduction as far as where she played. She is a sophomore middle for us, and she's graduating in the spring with her AAOT and trying to get her nursing degree. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and turn it right over to you, Mara. If you would just let us know a little bit more about you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. As Jamie said, my name is or Maria. I am a sophomore middle for our volleyball team. My hometown is Springfield, Oregon, and I went to Thurston High School. I decided to choose LB because of its proximity to OSU, along with when I came and visited, everyone was like so kind and it was such a welcoming experience. I am planning to apply to nursing programs this year. I will be applying to Mount Hood Community College, Linn-Benton Community College, and Lane Community College. Obviously, I want to stick to Linn-Benton. And I actually got in contact with Jamie through one of her prior players. So it was really cool to, that player was my coach. So it was really cool to have that happen for me. Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks, Mar. Jamie, thanks for that. I appreciate you guys sharing. And I would say that your story is not completely unique in that Jamie has been coaching long enough that she has had a few mother-daughter combinations come through, Jamie. And that is in no real way saying that you've been coaching a really long time, but you've been coaching for a while, and that's bound to happen. So it's really neat when you can see things like that start to happen. So congratulations.
All right.
So impressive.
All right, great. Well, thanks you too. And now Coach Gibson, Jared, we're going to bring you on next and hear from women's basketball.
Sounds good. Can everybody, am I good here? Can't see myself. So
you are all good.
Perfect. I just want to, real quick before I get into introducing our student athlete tonight, I did see Greg Hawk on. Awesome to see you, Greg. Little known fact, I did some cooperative work experience through Coach Hawk when I went to school here at LB around 20 years ago. So super awesome to see you. And hopefully you'll get a chance to fill us in a little bit on Seth and a little bit of his background today. So our student athlete, Grace Gaither, is going to introduce herself here shortly, but just a little background on Grace. I actually really wanted to recruit Grace out of high school. Her coach is a good friend of mine at Grants Pass. And when I talked to him about recruiting her, he said, nope, she's already committed to play softball at Oregon State. So didn't really get a chance to recruit her. And then last winter, she contacted us and was missing basketball. And so was really excited about the opportunity to have her come in the spring. She actually enrolled last spring, dual enrolled. And we were really excited about having a chance to work with her in terms of development over the course of the spring term. And, obviously the pandemic had something to say about that. So, which was unfortunate, but so far this year, throughout the summer and into the fall and now the winter, Grace has really shown some great, awesome leadership qualities. And she has the potential to have a really good future here for us. So with that, I'll let Grace jump on here and introduce herself. Are you ready, Grace?
Thank you, Coach. Yes, I'm ready. I'm Grace. I'm a redshirt freshman. I'm currently dual enrolled at Oregon State doing criminal justice. So that was interesting. And I chose Linn-Benton because honestly, they just believed in me. Because taking a year off of basketball or a couple years, it was definitely a stretch, and they took a chance with me and believed in me the whole way. So that's why I chose LB, and just a family. I love it here. So that's why I chose LB. So, yeah.
All right, great. Well done. Anything else, Coach?
That's it. Good job, Grace.
Yeah, Grace, nice job. Thanks for joining us. And now, Coach Joe, you're going to be up next. Are you ready to go? Oh, there we go. There's my buddy Nita.
Hi. Aiden, you can go ahead and log on now too, or put your screen up if you're paying attention. Hopefully Aiden will get his screen going pretty quick here. Okay, here we go.
He's screen sharing.
Just show your face,
Okay.
Aiden.
Yeah, Aiden, you can stop your screen share and just click your camera on.
All right, while he's getting that organized, I'll just talk about him real briefly. Aiden's a local guy for us from South Albany High, and I'll let him get into that a little more. What I want to say about Aiden is Aiden came here as a walk-on, and since he's been here, he's done everything that we've asked, really worked hard in the classroom, and really busted his butt in the weight room. He's been performing at a really high level in the weight room. We're really proud of his growth there. And we actually decided to award him some scholarship money for this current term. So we're really happy with the work he's done and excited to see what the future has for him. You there, Aiden?
I think we may have just lost him. Yeah, I don't see him anymore. You know what? He may have just had some issues. Why don't we, Coach Joe, let's just adapt on the fly here.
Sure.
And we can come back to Aiden when he gets back on. Okay.
He just texted me and he's saying he can't figure it out. So.
Okay. Well, maybe that's a freshman thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, we will adapt and hopefully catch up with him next time. Nita, we'll say goodbye to you for tonight, and then we'll move on to baseball. Thanks, Coach Joe.
Okay.
All right, Andy,
Okay,
you are up.
All right. I'd like to introduce a very special young man today, Wyatt Young, one of our outfielders. Wyatt's going to be heading to Oregon State next year. We're all very excited about that. And for lack of better words, he's the chatty Cathy on our team. So I figured he would be great for this today. And I'll make it easier for him. And I'm going to ask Wyatt a couple questions. Wyatt, you on there?
I'm here.
All right. What's up, buddy? We'll start with position and where you're from.
I play left field, corner outfield, and I'm from Houston, Texas. I went to Kincaid high school.
Okay. What is your plan for school? What are you doing academically, and what do you want to do once baseball is all over?
So I'm a finance major, geology minor, and I want to go work for 2 years for an investment bank, and then go to graduate school and get my master's.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fun. What is your favorite part of Linn-Benton?
My favorite part of Linn-Benton is, well, right now playing outside, so we can play a lot. Actually, we got a cool field and a bunch of great guys, and it's like really family oriented. Last year at my old school, a lot of guys came from LB, and they spoke nothing but great things about it, and they all are true.
Awesome. We got you fooled so far.
Yeah.
Is there anything else interesting we should know about you, Wyatt?
No, I'm pretty plain vanilla. No, I taught myself how to play guitar a year ago. And when I came to Oregon last year, I actually only knew 2 people. Both were over the age of 35, and those were the only people I knew when I moved here. They're my coaches, 2 of my coaches. So
nice.
Came in here kind of blind, but I love it.
Cool. Well, we're happy to have you, Wyatt. You're doing a great job, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, Petey.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, and I just want to say, excited, Seth, thank you for hopping on. Coach Hawk, real excited to hear what you guys got to say.
Great. Well, thanks, Andy. Thanks, Wyatt. Nice job. I like the little Q&A format that you guys got going there too. So that works. We may have to adopt that. All right. We're gonna go ahead and move on here. We're to the point where we're featuring our alumni spotlight here now, and Seth Brown, he's going to talk a little bit about himself. He's going to give a little bit of his story about LB and what he's done since then. As I mentioned earlier, then Ryan Gorton is going to jump on. They will do a little Q&A. And then after that, we're going to invite the person mentioned several times so far, Coach Hawk, who was Seth's coach during his time here at LB, is going to jump on as well for a little Q&A between the 2 of them as well. So Seth, that was your 5-second warning. Are you ready to jump on camera?
Yes, I am.
All right, great. Well, Seth, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and appreciate your willingness to come on and share your story. The purpose of these, as I've tried to explain to everybody that watches, is that we feel it's really important to embrace our history and to reach out and engage with those former athletes and coaches that were a part of LB over the course of, again, 50 years is our history now. It's important that we never forget where we've come from. And it's important to do it in this type of setting where we have our current student athletes engaged, so that they can see a little bit about what the history is about, hear some stories about what it used to be like, and really understand some of that same history, because LB is a very special place. And sometimes as a current student athlete, you don't get to fully understand that till you're gone. And so we want to bridge that gap. We want to make that connection between our past and our current student athletes. And this is one way that we've been doing it. So Seth, I'm going to turn it over to you. And then once we get through maybe your opening comments, we'll bring Ryan on and have a little Q&A between the 2 of you. Okay?
Fantastic. Yeah. Hope everybody can see me. No, I want to, first off, congratulations to all you guys, all you current student athletes. That's awesome what you guys are doing there. You guys are really taking advantage of the opportunities that are there at LB. So congrats to you guys. I know I've seen a few of you on there that I knew when I was there. Jamie, still think about the volleyball classes that I took with you. So good to see you guys. Coach, looking forward to hearing from you. And Gordo, excited to talk to you, man. So a little bit about my story. I ended up at LB just kind of by a stroke of luck. Coming out of high school, I was obsessed with Oregon State. Always wanted to play there. Really, the only thing I thought about was playing at Oregon State. So I got invited there to walk on. Really, was pumped about it, and was really just kind of realized I wasn't mature enough to handle the size of those classes. It was just a lot. And a lot of my buddies from Medford, Michael Bradshaw, he's now coaching at BYU. Cody James, 2 other guys were all going to Linn-Benton baseball, and they kept telling me, "Hey, man, you should come over here. It's awesome." And one thing led to another, you know, when you don't take care of your stuff in the classroom, you run out of options real quick. So I want to give you guys another props for you guys who are, you know, getting your degree done there, your AA and stuff. So coach, you know, got a hold of Coach Hawk and he invited me out, you know, and that man really saw something in me that I really hadn't seen in myself yet. Not just, you know, I was always able to play, but kind of saw what I could be. And he gave me a chance. And so first year, I loved it. Enjoyed the time there, enjoyed my, you know, the buddies I was playing with, you know, and I was in a really weird place mentally, and decided to leave and not stay for my sophomore year, left, ended up taking a year off of everything. I was working at a gravel pit, in Medford, and thinking that my days of playing were over. Realized kind of what a huge mistake I had made. Didn't really have the guts to call coach back and ask for another chance, but you know, he didn't give me that. He called me up and said, "Hey, Seth, I want you to come back and I want you to make do a better job up here this time." You know, my mind was so all over the place. Wasn't in the classroom where it needed to be. Baseball was my outlet, and that's the one thing I always focused on was baseball, but couldn't quite get the schooling put together with it. So he gave me a chance to come back. You know, and it was that Linn-Benton kind of gave me that chance to really mature, and decide what I wanted to do. I started taking criminal justice classes, found that was kind of where my interest lied. And then went up to the sophomore showcase, had a really good showcase and had a lot of schools want me to go there. And I sat, you know, with Coach Hawk there in his office and said, "Coach, you know me better than anybody. Where do you think I should go?" And he told me Lewis Clark State in Idaho. And I had really heard only you know, rumors of that place, a military style program, hardest thing you'll ever do. And so I trusted Coach. You know, he brought me back there. He knew what was best for me, which is why, you know, having this type of staff that LB has, not just with baseball, but with all the other athletics there, they really know what they're doing. And that school's a special place. So trusting him, I said, "Okay, let's go." Go up to Lewiston in Idaho and loved it. It was beautiful. I really had no idea what I was getting myself into, but knew that's what you know, he told me, "You need structure. You need some place that's going to drive you and push you." And so I show up there, had no idea what I was getting myself into. Turned out to be an absolutely military style program. Everything is your fault, even if it's not. Which turned out to be exactly what I needed. Brought something out of me that I've always wanted to bring out. Didn't know I had. Showed me the type of person, the type of human I wanted to be. And that's you know, things really started to kind of go my way. I started getting better in the classroom and getting closer to my bachelor's degree, and spent my first year there redshirting because I was so far behind in school because of my decisions I made previous to Linn-Benton. So I was really far behind school wise. And this is at this point in time, had no idea really, the thoughts of pro ball had almost left my mind. I thought, you know, that ship has sailed for me. I squandered those opportunities that I may have had or may not have had. What I need to do now is focus on school. And so I finally got that going, finally became eligible my junior year at Lewis Clark State, and ended up having one of the best years of baseball in my life. Got drafted in the 19th round, excuse me. And learning from that place, putting it all together from LB, it showed me what a true grinder mentality is. And that's doing everything extra. My last year of college there, I almost had no personal life. It was school, gym, baseball. That was it. I hung out with no friends. Great buddies, you know, still great friends with all my teammates I had there, but I chose to spend my weekends in the cage doing all the extra things. I mean, all the cliche stuff you guys hear about as athletes. Hey, this guy spent more time in the cage than anybody. I mean, I truly had just immersed myself in the baseball aspect and the school aspect. So things really went well. I got drafted and continued that mindset. When I hit pro ball, I knew since I was a late round guy, I was going to have to do everything extra. Things that nobody else wants to do, I was going to have to do it. I was going to have to show up early, lift harder, run harder, everything extra I can do, got to do it. And still, it's a long road in the minor leagues. You have to really embrace the suck, if you will, embrace the things that are hard, embrace the things that you don't want to do. And even then it can still wear you down and, mentally. But going to Linn-Benton for that second year, building those good habits and then reinforcing them, it really showed me that you really can make it through anything if you just put your mind to it. So I continued that mindset, and it even got to the point where some of the teammates jokingly, it's everybody likes to call, you're an eyewash guy. You like to do extra stuff that nobody likes to see you doing, who you trying to impress. And to me, I always looked at it is I was never going to leave another opportunity on the table. If whatever happened, I learned my lesson the first time the hard way. I was not going to leave anything out there. I was never going to look back and say, I wish I'd have done more. So I continued to do the extra, and so I continue up through the ranks. In second year in high A, I was 25 years old, which is in the baseball realm, in the baseball world, you're old for, high A. And I was just kind of drowning even then, and just really getting caught up in trying to do so much, trying to be more than what I am, and trying to impress the wrong people. And I just realized that everything I've done, everything I did at Linn-Benton, everything I did at Lewis Clark State was enough. I can go out and have fun. I've given it all. I'm going to continue to give it all, but I'm going to learn how to have fun while I do it. So then I took off again for a second time, went to Double A. And then Double A, let's see, that spring training at Double A, I was on the release list. They told me I was too old, no room for me and on any roster. The only chance you have is maybe going back to Double A. I was actually one day away from getting released, which I had no idea about until I was talking to our current farm director this last year. And everything I did made an impression with those guys. And when they found out I was going to get released, it was, hey, we cannot release this guy. This guy gives everything he has at all times, always has a good attitude about it. You can't get rid of him. And so based on them convincing the front office, they said, hey, you're going to stay, but you got to go back to Double A. And at this point, I'm looking at it as, well, I had just finished my bachelor's that season. My first season Double A is when I completed my bachelor's in criminal justice. And I was like, well, I've got my degree. I'm just going to play for as long as I can, see what happens. And so instead of getting released, I was ready on all set to go back to Double A. The next day, they pull me aside and say, Seth, some guy, ex-big leaguer, he took his option. He's done. He doesn't want to go to AAA, which opened up a spot for me. And so me being in the minor leagues for, 4 or 5 years now at that point, I was just so happy to finally get to AAA. I'd set those minor goals for myself. Big leagues are always in your mind, but you have to set little goals in front of you. Like, as cliches and as many times you guys have heard that, it's set things that you can put your hands on, accomplish it, and keep going. And so I was excited, pumped. It felt like I was going to the big leagues, just getting called to AAA. I show up there first day, got a real awesome manager. He likes to tell all of us how it's going to go. He tells me, Seth, listen, love that you're here. But the front office, this is how much playing time you're going to get. You're going to be playing maybe 2 days a week. And I said, Fran, I don't care. I'm happy to be here. I'm ready when you need me. And that's just the kind of attitude I had really tried to develop, is regardless of how much it sucks, regardless of everything, no matter what it is, you smile through it, you put your nose down, you work. And so I continued to do that. And then I started getting playing time here and there, and I made really good improvements, and was still going out early, still getting a hard time for my teammates. And then all of a sudden I started hitting really well. And I came out pretty hot at the first part of the season, and that earned me a little bit more playing time. And then I continued to build on that. And by the end of the year, I was getting called up. And that day was such an emotional day for me. We were in Tacoma. Our home field was in Vegas, so we'd flown up that morning. And we're taking BP that day in the cage. And Fran, the manager, he's around the cage, but it's still, the manager really is not around the cage during game time or pregame. That's just, they roam around, but they're usually not around there. So, and it was around September call-up time. So I knew somebody in the cage was probably getting called up. I never thought, because I wasn't a 40-man guy. And what that means is September call-ups, they expand the rosters. If you're on the 40-man, you're going and you're chosen. They don't have to make any moves. You're going up. They don't have to drop somebody else off the 40-man or anything like that. So I didn't have an idea that it was going to be me. I just looked at it like, man, this has been an awesome season. I'm having one of the best years I've ever had. Coach Hawk was coming up to my games at Tacoma. And so it was just an incredible day in general. But he comes into the cages and he's on his phone. It's his birthday. And he looks at gathers us all up and he says, hey, guys, today's my birthday. And in the minor leagues, you really kind of, it's just like any college team. You give each other a hard time. And so we're chirping at him and saying, oh, friend, we get it. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, man. Is that what you want to hear? And, he's got a serious look on his face. Well, Fran usually, he doesn't really do that. He's a pretty laid back guy. And he says, today is my birthday. And, the only reason I like my birthday is because I get to talk to my kids. And he said, but today I've gotten one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. And it's to tell Seth he's going to be a big leaguer. And I was I'm pretty sure I almost fainted. I was frozen, didn't know what to do. All my teammates, I think knew, but I start giving hugs and I'm able to hold it together and until I leave. And then I call my dad, my first call, and immediately lost. I mean, I couldn't even get words out. All I could end up getting out to him was I did it. And that feeling of something you've worked for so long, and it's not just with baseball. That's one thing I've learned is there's so many goals and so many big things you can set for yourself to accomplish. And to me, this was the only thing I had ever really thought that I, wanted for myself as a career. I knew I had my degree and I knew I could be a cop, and which I've always wanted to be as well. But baseball is all from little kid, and we all have those dreams. And I just remember thinking about all those time I spent with my dad in high school, even younger, travel ball as a little league kid, just all those thoughts and memories and times that, I went through some crazy stuff at Lewis Clark State, puking like the first 30 days straight, running so much, I guess sacrificing, hanging out with my friends and all this stuff that I'd done to try and make sure that I look back someday and was never going to look and say, hey, I wish I'd have done more. And having that all come together at that moment was just so hard to explain to you guys. It was all worth it, I guess is the best way to put it. My time, it wasn't for nothing. I didn't waste it. And, after all the chances I had blown, after all the bad choices I'd made, having this second chance and doing it this way was incredible to me. It's so hard, and like I said, there's so many other things that you could put as goals for yourself to get that type of a feeling. But this was mine, and so I just the advice I can give you guys is, don't squander opportunities, and don't ever look back at anything you do, whether it's baseball, any athletic event, school, whatever it is. Never look back and say, I wish I'd have tried harder. I wish I'd have done more, because when you're in the middle of that stuff, you never think it's going to matter. Oh, if I don't go to the cage today, it won't matter. Oh, if I don't study for that test, it ain't going to matter. It's easy. It's only 20 points. I'm telling you guys, this stuff, it adds up. And if you can look back someday, and that's the decision I had made in AA, was I don't care how far I get. I don't care where I go. I'm going to give all I can. I'm going to give all I have, so that one day when it's over, I look back and I have nothing but good memories and nothing but smiles on my face. And that's the advice I can give to you guys, is take advantage of where you're at. You guys have no idea how lucky you are to be at Linn-Benton. It's a special place full of special people willing to put their necks out for you. Coach Hawk, he put his neck out for me, and just because he had a feeling about me, saw me and saw what I could be. And I'm telling you, if you attack life that way, attack adversity, bad things that happen to you, if you attack it with a smile on your face and get after it, man, there's nothing, you're never going to look back and have regrets about anything. So that's the advice I have for you guys. And, you know, I appreciate you guys, you know, watching, if you guys are still watching. And no, I really appreciate you guys having me on.
No, that's awesome, Seth. I mean, what great words of advice. And so, hey, Coach Peterson, I'm going to have you jump on and say hello to Seth. Seth's going to stick around on camera. And then, Petey, if you could introduce Coach Gordo. Obviously, the baseball people know him, but not everybody listening may know Coach Gordo. So why don't you make that introduction, and then we'll let them go.
Yeah, no, Seth, thank you so much, man. That is awesome to hear. Great bounce back story. All that. It's funny. I think 3 times you said, you know, cliche comment. I always love that as one of the go-tos of every coach I've ever had. And now that I'm coaching, you know, it's amazing how many times I say, I know it's cliche, you know, but you know, hey, it really is true. It's absolutely true. And great to hear from a guy like you. I'm sure our guys are pretty fired up to hear that. But yeah, so figured it'd be cool to have, Coach Gordo on here with you. He's going to ask you a couple questions. Obviously, Gordo and Seth got to play together in the A's organization for a little bit. And I mean, even before we knew this was going on, I think we had a newspaper come through the office when you got called up. That's still sitting in my office. And Gordo's like, yeah, I played with him. We played together for a while. Like, God, I love that guy. He's an awesome dude. He worked his tail off. And
dude. Gordo's the man.
Like that way. Oh yeah. So figured to have Gordo ask you a couple questions and see if we can get some of those cliche answers back for you.
I love it, man.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man.
Oh yeah.
Brownie, what's up, buddy?
Gordo, the goatee's looking good, man.
Thank you, brother. Good to see you as always.
Good to see you too.
Hope Brittany's doing all right.
Oh, she's upstairs, man.
All right. Hopefully you're keeping her happy. Well, for you guys that have never seen this guy play, this guy is one of the most exciting outfielders I've ever seen. Like, if you're a pitcher, you want him behind you. This guy's it doesn't matter if there's a wall in his way or a fence or another person. It doesn't matter. This guy's going to go catch the baseball. Like, it's happening. And, you know, I think the first game I ever saw you play, you made a crazy catch, catching the ball, running into the fence. And like, all of us pitchers were like, all right, that's the guy we want. That's the guy we want behind us.
That's what I'm there for, man.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, just that attitude and that, you know, go-getter type of spirit just really, you know, endears you to your teammates. And as I'm sure you know, but, you know, you guys love playing with you and think pretty highly of you. And we're pretty proud of you at Linn-Benton.
I appreciate it, man.
What you're doing.
I appreciate it, dude.
You answered a lot of my questions that I already had. That was a nice little bio. I want to know, just from your little story. So you said you weren't maybe mature enough to handle, you know, that first year. Like, what changed? Is that just time? You needed time to grow up, or was there something that like clicked and changed for you?
I mean, honestly, man, it was a little bit of time, but when you burn so many bridges, you run out of options. You have no choice but to. I mean, I had the mindset that it was never my fault, you know. And when you have when you run around with that type of mindset, you're going to fail really quick. And I was just lucky that I had somebody like Coach Hawk that saw me for who I could be and not who I was. Because I'm sure back in those days, you know, not many coaches would have looked at me and said, "You're a guy I want." You know, you look more at me back in those days, and it was, man, what a waste. What are you doing? But even then, it was. I thought I was untouchable, thought I was too good. And so when you run out of options, you have no choice but to look at how it is and look at yourself in the mirror and say, man, you have got to figure it out. And, you know, as hard as that is, it's so humbling. And as hard as it is to look at yourself and say, you're the problem. You know, it's what some people, you know, in my position, for those of you who don't have that attitude and who do the right things and have the right mindset, you know, keep it. But for me, it was, I had to look at it and say, you're the problem here, man. If you want to accomplish anything in life, it's going to have to start with you changing something. And Coach Hawk hit it right on the head. Was I needed that structure. I needed that mindset of perfection every single day. And if you don't get it perfect, it's your fault. And even if it's not your fault, it's your fault. And that really changed me. And once I started, and the thing is that stuff doesn't happen overnight. And it didn't for me. It was, I needed that redshirt year. I needed that second year at Linn-Benton. I needed all that just to get to where I wanted to be. And then I had to tackle everything that I had done wrong after I got my mind right. So for me, I made it a lot harder on myself than I should have. And that was really that maturity level that you gain from time and from problems that you cause and that you have to fix. That's really what it took for me to really kind of turn it around.
Well, that's pretty special. I think a lot of other people would just continue going on that same path and, you know, not my problem, not my fault, and just continue on with that. But that's pretty cool that you made that decision, you know, that conscious decision to change and to get better. So that's pretty cool. Hey, so was there a time like in the minor leagues where you knew like, okay, I got to this spot, I can do this now, like this is going to unlock me to get to the big leagues? Or was it always just kind of out of your control, hope they call me up?
So I realized after, it was probably sometime in the middle of my second year in high A, when you really, I mean, we all have our goals and we all have things we really, really want, but sometimes when that's all you think about, it takes away from what you're doing. And so I had to look at it a different way. And when I started to look at it, like, regardless of where I go, and this goes for guys who are, you know, wanting a better job or whatever you guys are tackling after baseball and after school, but I want to be somewhere so bad, but it's so far away. Why am I not there? It's a dangerous trap to become, you know, trapped in, is always focus on why I'm not where I want to be, instead of just saying, I'm here, let's have fun with it. I don't care where I go. I'm here right now. Let's do as good as I can right here. And whatever else happens is going to happen. It's out of my control. And it goes from controlling what you have control over. I had control of my attitude. I had control of everything I did every day in Stockton, California. And Gordo, you've been there. I mean, it's a place where, I mean, you show up to the yard some days and it's like, man, I cannot believe we have to show up again today. And so if you can just avoid those negative thoughts and keep the positives in your mind, then I started to really see that change. And I think it's AAA is when it hit me like, man, I can be in the big leagues. Like I'm excelling here in AAA. I'm facing guys that have been in the big leagues and I'm doing better than they are. Like I'm playing with guys that are in the big leagues and I'm playing better than they are. And all this is inside, you know, the biggest thing I focused on was a big change for me is nobody cares what I do. Nobody cares who you are. Nobody cares what you're doing. You have to become selfless in that manner and look at your teammates and just enjoy being around your teammates, because at the end of the day, you can be the selfish guy that nobody wants to be around, or you can be a good teammate. And that's where I focused on at AAA. Was I knew I wasn't going to play that much at the beginning. And being a good teammate kind of transferred into my play, trying to help the team versus help my batting average, score us a run rather than get an RBI. That is when it hit me like, I can play this game. Like I'm better than I thought I was. And because you definitely hit points and you've been there, like, you don't know, you sit there and look at yourself some days, man, like, is this really all I can do? Is this really as good as I am? But there's always another part of yourself that you didn't know was there.
Yeah, well, that's gold. That is absolute gold. I hope all the student athletes are listening and take that in and think about it and turn it into their own and own it, you know, turn it into their own program. Yeah, that's great stuff. Do you have a favorite memory from your time at LB?
Favorite memory, man. Honestly, that whole second year, that first year, I tried to put behind me as quickly as possible. You know, like I said in my talk earlier, I was just so mentally out of it. But that second year, man, it was a time I got to spend with a lot of good friends. And I think going to the tournament in Longview, was an awesome memory to have with those guys. And always loved going. I mean, I loved going to breakfast with Coach Hawk and the team. That was our first stop. You know, let's go get some breakfast. Those breakfasts, and you know, we had dinner at I forget what restaurant it was in Coos Bay, but just those time, you know, spending that time with your team and enjoying those moments that they don't last forever. And so soaking all that in, I'd say those breakfasts, going to the tournament, those dinners we had as a team were just some of my favorites personally.
That's cool. It's not even on the field stuff.
Oh no.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Lastly, who's the toughest pitcher you've ever faced?
Toughest pitcher. Ottavino with the Yankees was pretty tough. Verlander was pretty tough. I'd probably have to say Verlander or Morton for the Rays. Morton was tough. It's either Morton or Verlander.
Verlander gets you on the high cheese?
No, I doubled off of him, but he was
double.
Yeah, no, but the thing is like those pitches, he had amazing down angle. Every one of his pitches looks like it's the same pitch. And then you've got Morton's curveball, which is a joke. I mean, it looks like a ball out of hand, and it ends up being, you know, on the other side of the plate. It's crazy. But those two guys were insane.
Cool. Dawson, you hear that? Down angle. That down angle, baby. All right. Well, I'll turn it back over to Mark here. Seth, I love you, buddy.
Yeah. I love you too, Gordo.
Hey,
and
Ryan,
we're proud of what you're doing.
I appreciate it, Gordo. Good seeing you, man.
Yes, sir.
Great. Nice job, Ryan. Appreciate you jumping in. And Seth, we're almost done with you here, but you know this next guy we're going to invite on, Coach Hawk. Speaking of longevity at LB, Coach Hawk, I know you've got many years. You are one of those Mr. LBs. You were there quite a long time. Coach Hawk, are you there and able to get your camera turned on for us? There he is.
I'm right here.
Great. Well, Coach Hawk, appreciate you joining us tonight, and appreciate all your support of LB. And since you've been retired from that place, you still are connected and cheerleading for us, and we appreciate everything that you do. And thanks for being here, but we thought you might want a chance to talk to this guy a little bit.
I love visiting with my man Brownie. This
Coach.
guy is special. So congratulations, Seth. And again, we are all so proud of you. But I tell you, Seth, you know, that first year you came to Linn-Benton, and I was so happy you was there. But, you know, we just didn't get the right man yet. And I knew that. And when you left, I thought, oh, he's being taken from us from some other players. And I said, I'm going to keep a hold of Seth Brown. He's got more to give. He's going to be able to show more to a lot more people if we can get him up here. And boy, did you have a change in that second year. And that's where the light went on. And I'm just so happy that you had a great year. You got your academics in-house. And then where do we go? There it was, the guy that played for me, Jeremiah Robbins, who was a Roseburg kid, played with us in '88. He's the coach there at Lewis and Clark. And I says, this guy is going to take you through the washer, but when you come out, you're going to be clean and dry and ready. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm so proud of the way that you got through this, buddy.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you,
grinded,
Coach.
Man. You grinded right through this. Yes.
Couldn't have done it without you, Coach.
Well,
I'll tell you what, special guy, man. I know that I probably wasn't the first athlete that you ever come across that you've helped. I know there's been a lot more than me, but I'll tell you what, this is just one of those times where if you hadn't called me back that one day when I was sitting there at the gravel pit, I'll tell you what, my life would look a lot different. And so I will forever be grateful to you, to Linn-Benton, for that. And I tell you what, it was a special day, you know, meeting you, and I cherish both those years I got to play for you.
Yeah. Well, you know, speaking of being at the gravel pit, it really kind of neat to hear that Wyatt, one of the guys, is a minor in geology, and that's a study of rock. Yeah. So, you know, Wyatt, don't go to the same rock pit that my man Brown was.
No.
And I gotta say, the thing that I really enjoyed following you was you just kept outperforming everybody, that they gave you not very much of a chance, and you just kept on the edge and you kept grinding, and you didn't let somebody say that you can't make it. You made it because you wanted to, and you was headstrong enough, and you knew you could do it. And that's what is impressive to me. But following you from double A to triple A, and you had big years in double A with some home runs, and big year with the triple A with about 45. I can't remember exactly what it was, but you was leading that triple A, all of triple A in home runs. And what was so unique to me was you just was as humble as could be, and I watched you, and I watched for all of the different mannerisms, and the players just love you, the fans love you, and I tell you what, you got a great following here, that you're special, man. You made it, and you did it with hard work and effort. Nobody gave you this, you did it, and
absolutely.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. But it's the support from you guys, and you, coach, that is truly amazing for me to hear, because it's without your guys' support and the opportunities you guys gave me, nothing would have happened. And it's like you said, it's like Gordo said, learning how to do the things that nobody wants to do, and that means sacrificing my body day in, day out, because when you're in minor leagues, and it's not like college, nobody wants to dive for a ball, nobody wants to go running through a wall. But when you do the things, and it's not just baseball, and I'm telling you, it's life. When you do things that nobody else wants to do, hard things, stuff that hurts, if you can embrace the pain and know it's making you stronger and better, both physical and mental pain, I'm telling you, it's that's when you truly gain. And Coach sending me to Lewis Clark State, that's what I learned is pain is where you truly learn. I'll tell you what, it was painful, but I tell you what, I look back at those days, and I'm telling you, I miss the pain more than anything else. It's weird.
Well, I'm sure that the pain you're providing now is more comforting, because you're enjoying yourself a little better than grinding all the time. But there was a day late in the season where Richie Price came from the University of Kansas, and he wanted to come see a couple of guys play. One guy from Roseburg, another one down south that's hit 10 home runs. And I says, the guy that can really hit's in the cage. And that video is still up with Seth Brown hitting in the cage with his shirt off, grinding at LBCC. One of the neatest videos I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, so, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, and that was Richie Price, who played at Linn-Benton, who was coming back to try to find one of the guys. And boy, if we'd have had you right, it'd been a lot of fun there too. But to see you play, and your body of work, and what's coming up ahead, I see this as being a real time for you. Grossman being going out in free agency, and the way that the money shifts in the minor leagues, it sure looks like they're bringing a player up to do it, and it's your time, man. I really think that this is going to be a good year for you, and we're looking forward to it.
I appreciate it, Coach, and I hope so. And it's like it always comes down to every year is a new year, and you got to take the mindset of this is a new team, got to earn a spot, got to earn everything I get, and so I'm prepared to grind it out again, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Great. Well, hey, Coach, I'm going to jump in here. We're getting close to the end of our hour, but I wanted to invite any questions from people. If somebody is out there, we'd ask you, be brave enough, turn your camera and mic on, and jump on here and ask a question of Seth. Anybody feel free to do that that's with us.
Yeah, it does not have to be baseball.
Yeah.
Anything oriented that you guys ask. I'm an open book, so anything
Go
you
ahead,
guys
Jared.
need.
Seth, Jared Gibson here, women's basketball. I wanted to, I'm a big baseball fan, but really wanted to get your perspective on maybe the culture of the A's organization. Always competitive, with,
Yeah.
you know, being at the kind of the bottom tier of payroll, and what maybe makes the A's organization a little bit different than, you know, than maybe some of the others?
I will say the A's organization does a phenomenal job of allowing players to develop. A lot of other organizations, they have really short leashes with players. They don't show off their stuff immediately. They're out and they're moving on. There's so many players and so much talent running around, you know, and for you players that play other sports as well, basketball, volleyball, once you guys get out there and see the type of talent people have, it truly is a humbling experience. And it shows you that Oregon is such a small place. And I know there's a few of you that are from out of state, but it's amazing the type of talent. So Oakland does a very good job, I think, of letting players truly develop, working with them, allowing them to kind of make some adjustments. And for me, I think if I was in any other organization other than the A's, for my second year at high A, after my first year, I probably would not have been around. I think I probably would have been released after my first season, but they also do, they value hard work, which is something that not other organizations will do. It's all about results. It's all about what you're doing on the field. It's not necessarily effort, hard work, all the other stuff that Oakland values, other players and other organizations, I don't think do that as well. And so it allowed me to stay around, and, you know, which I think is awesome. And, you know, as far as a culture goes, I'm telling you, if you ever want to talk, and I know, you know, if you ever guys want to get to know somebody, Jeremiah Robbins can tell you a lot about, in my opinion, the best culture as far as creating a winning atmosphere that I've ever been a part of. And because specifically it's college athletes, and college athletics is such a team oriented ordeal. And once you get into any professional sport, you kind of lose that until you get to the major leagues or the top level of another professional sport. That's when you get the brotherhood back. But college to me is where you build the best, I think, culture to win. And that to me is that competitiveness in everyday ordeal. I mean, it's literally everything. I mean, to me, I've been more nervous during LCSC practices than I have in Major League Baseball game. Just to give you guys an example of what the atmosphere was like at LC. I mean, he'd show up and say, listen, you guys have a 9-inning inter squad today. I'm counting every strikeout. I'm counting every error. I'm counting every bad throw, every jog, everything. And you guys are going to be out here all night. And you guys are going to decide how long you want to be out here. And it was like that every day. So that'd be another guy. I mean, I know he played for Coach Hawk as well, but that's what I think Oakland does really well. And as far as a good environment and a winning atmosphere, that's the way to go.
Great question, Jared. And I'm going to invite, please, anybody else come on and ask Seth a question. We'd love to have you. But Seth, I was just going to say that Jeremiah might be a great guy, and I hear a lot of great things about him. But right now he's the coach at Umpqua, and so we don't like him as much. So we're trying to tread that fine line between embracing our past and really, you know, not embracing our foes right now.
I enjoy. Hey, you know what? That's on me. I completely spaced that out. You're right. You're right.
We got him game one, so let's bring it.
Yeah. Well, great. I'm seeing a bunch of shy people, but one thing I want to do before we go, because we are at the end of our time and want to be respectful, but we've asked everybody to keep their cameras off just so it's a better viewing experience. But we had a great crowd the whole time, Seth. You had them engaged completely. I want to invite everybody to turn their camera on, and let's just get a sense of who's with us. Let's fill up the screen with all these faces, all these great coaches and student athletes we have with us. And Seth, you can get a little taste for the LB student athletes these days. Like, we've just got a whole mess of them. They're not going to all fit on one screen, but hopefully you can see all those faces, eager, wide-eyed, and ready to take on the world. So,
no, it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm so happy, like you said, that I got to be here. and be involved with you guys. I'm telling you guys are in a special place. Take advantage of it. I'm telling you, time flies. So I'm telling you, 5 years ago was yesterday. So just take advantage of where you're at. Take advantage of your coaches. They got a great knowledge base there. Believe me, they know more than you do. So enjoy the instruction they give you. Enjoy everything they do, even the hard stuff. Even when the days when it's like, man, practice sucks today. Look at your teammate and tell them, listen, I'm going to beat you all day today. And that would be contagious. I'm telling you, I would look at my teammates during conditioning and say, listen, there's no way I puke before you do. And I'm telling you, that make it fun, make that hard stuff fun. And you will gain a lot. I promise you.
Right. Great. Well, this has just been awesome stuff. Really great to spend time with you, Seth. Coach Hawk, thanks for joining us tonight. Great to see you. And Gordo, nice job with the interview. And all of our coaches and student athletes, especially that spoke tonight, thanks for stepping up. But this has been a great evening. We appreciate everybody being here. We do this every month, so we'll look forward to the next one. And Seth, just best of luck. I know you're heading out soon, probably to head to spring training at some point here soon, but good luck this year, and we'll be following you, and let's stay in touch.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it again, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Good luck to you all.
All right.
Good job,
Great.
Brownie.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks.